here is really wonderful. Like that spring weather and a little breeze and warm, and so the walks are very nice, and the flowers are blooming, and the grass is turning green, and beautiful time of year. And I'm just gonna say that a couple, not last, not this last Saturday, but I think the Saturday before, the weekly portion of the Torah was, or it has been, on the sacrifices, and it's just been so really beautiful to just read and to just look at and to ponder on the different type of sacrifices or for the different types of things. And I don't have any revelation, but just kind of curious about how it must be a male here, and then other times it could be a female. The birds are interesting in that the head must be separated from the body, and interestingly, the day on my walk, I kind of looked down at a point and there's a bird laying there by the sidewalk. It's unhurt. It's dead, but it looked unhurt, and its head is completely severed from its body, laying a few inches away. But from what I could tell, I couldn't tell anything else was hurt. Of course, I didn't touch it or look at it. The other side of it may have, been the problem, but just interesting to experience that just kind of after the reading. And it's just such a, uh, so how do you say, beautiful to read, and just to think about the idea of coming closer and how everything we have is provided from God. And then even the things He asks us to, give up or come closer to Him for is nothing is ever lost. So just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy, so much. Thank you so much for sharing it. Yes. In a way, we're never far. It's just a process of thinking that which is happening is gives us the sense that we are far, and since there's a sense that we are far, so against it, there's a need to get closer. This is the sacrifice. In Hebrew, sacrifice is just korban from karov, to get closer. So any kind of sacrifice, if you want to look at it, it's not, but in a way, it's against the tendency of feeling separated entities. It is funny because this weather is so cold, and this is Chag HaMatzot, the Matzot holiday, so we eat unleavened bread, and it's very thin, and it's in a way not undernourishing, but you have to eat every 2 hours like babies because you don't have yeast in it. So it doesn't sustain, it doesn't keep the body warm. And it is so beautiful because when you also eat unleavened bread, you notice immediately in this cold wave, it doesn't warm you, it doesn't give sustenance more than 2 hours, and you immediately have to eat. And the ability to think, and this is how we come to this self-narration, is gone. In a way, it's like a situation of a war when somebody's dropped a bomb, so you cannot think because you all the time, like an animal, danger or no danger, you're just there. Since there is no nourishment, there is no yeast. Lechem, bread contains the word cham, warm, yes, but also moach is brain. Once you don't eat bread, it's not warm, it's not warming you, and your brain is not being nourished. So you cannot even think, and not mentioning even plan. So just being in the moment, in a way, it is, if you want to look at it as experience. So this is what it is. You have to eat every 2 hours. When you eat, whatever you eat never keeps you warm. There is not enough fire. There is no sustenance to the brain. It's like a motor. There's no gasoline. It cannot burn. It cannot produce narration of any kind. So what happens in the moment happens in the moment. You can sometimes do not have words to speak. It was so cold that all the process of thinking and communicating, everything was like bubbling because it was so cold. So it's a very, very beautiful a mirror, because what happens, you can also look at meals, or when people eat and eat and eat, there's a sense of, I am the eating sense of fulfillment, and then the sense of feeling bigger than what it is, and there's like sense of opinions and stories next to the table, and pride stories or gossip stories, because there's a sense of at least the king sits next to the table. But now it's funny, you sit next to the table and you eat. Either your lips or your mouth is getting scratched. It's like a dry cracker, if I can give an example of what matzah is. So you have scratches already inside, so you're reluctant to eat. But you need to eat, otherwise you never get nourishment. And what nourishes you barely fits the next 2 hours, and you have to drink all the time to get warm. And it's like 20% of your natural feeling. If, let's say, in a good day, which is not either very, very cold, because those are two extreme conditions, whether it's very, very hot or it's very, very cold. So let's take an average day when it's not too warm or it's not too cold, beautiful, normal day, and everybody can feel himself or herself as themselves in the powers and ability to move, to speak, etc. Now you have maybe 20% battery. This is what it is for 2 hours, and this is it. And this is being. You cannot plan. You cannot have thought for long term. You cannot scheme. Criminal energy. Just, yeah. People speak. Have you heard about the term criminal energy? Have you heard it or not? Have you heard the term before, criminal energy, or not? No? Rodrigo, Yanis, have you heard the term criminal energy? Okay. This cunningness, sometimes you see or you read, when you read literature about people that never steal. Yeah. Criminal energy is just people who have this ability to think and to plan, but all the time they're scheming and planning. There are people who are, let's say, have this ability to inventors, or to make all kinds of experiment. But there are people that any kind of energy that they have, ability to think, to process information, whatever they do with their brain, with their mind, is to scam, is to plot, to lure people into bad businesses, ideas. This is criminal energy. Yes? But where does it come, this cunningness? Which, yes? So people all the time scheming, and yes, scheming, and they never stop. This is some kind of, they plan, they have tools, they have the cars, they have the means, whatever, to lure people, to cheat, all the time, yes? Even for to make a crime, let's say, you need to have certain kind of energy. Just to give us an example, it is beautiful moment in Passover that you have this 20% battery that suffice for 2 hours, and then everything comes in the moment. And there is no narration, and just this is what it is in the moment. Because what comes with the narration, with the ability to plan and to think far ahead, what comes with it also is the toxicity of having control. To all of us. Once there is a can plan anything in time. I go from here to there, 20 kilometers, I buy, tack, linear thinking. I can plan ahead. With it comes a narration. And what is a narration? It's a fallacy, yes? Is that I have control. Because I believe, according to calculation, called calculation, that the car can travel between 2 cities 1 hour, and then I go to this, and this is called calculation. But it comes with a price. What is the price? That we are in control. And we buy into this. And to believe that we are in control, and then something happens in this plan, which we did not calculate, it just happens in the moment, and we are not ready. And more than this, we believe that what happens in the moment, because we did not plan it, it is happening against us. It is happening against us. And then we fight. Because we did not plan this moment. We did not foresee this happening to happen. Just an example today. Was in home center. There was like 2 cashiers attending 2 customers. There was third space with no one, so I stood there waiting. Suddenly came a man, an elderly citizen, holding a receipt and a bottle that contained blue liquid. And he says, there's no one here in this position, because there were 2 cashiers working, and did not say anything. And then comes a lady, and he hands her the receipt and says, like, this is how it turned her. You took money from me. Like that. And hands her the receipt and the bottle. You took money from me. He said, excuse me, monsieur. She says, I did not take any money from you. I did not put it in my pocket. What he meant to say is there is a mistake. But he turned to her and say, you took money from me, or you took my money. And she said, excuse me, I did not take any money from you. I did not put it in my pocket. There might be a mistake. Let's look at the code. Let's look at the shelf. And she looked at the receipt. She looked at the bottle. He moved with her to check something. But you see, this is just an example. It doesn't matter in a way the man was speaking to the lady. This is what happens also many times in the Middle East, because maybe not just in the Middle East. You did something against me. One week ago, I also went to the supermarket. There was price on the product. I came to the self checkout. It was like higher. Yes. So I asked the clerk, please, there's a mistake. There are different prices. Which one of them is right? So she fixed it, and she decoded with her permission to code. She decoded the product again that it will fit. So some people, it's not that I, how do you say, make comparison between two cases, but something or sometimes there's a mistake that happens in the system, in a system level. A system level is something general, but whatever happens, we take it as private. It happened to me. In this case of the man and the lady in home center, according to his understanding, she took money from him. Of course, she did not take it. There was a mistake. It did not fit. The price of the bottle did not fit what the coder says. So he paid more, and they came to settle it. But this is just a little example. The world, the universe, in a way, is one. It's one happening. But when we come across it, because we tend to capture us as separated entities meeting the world, and then something happened to me. No, something not happened to me. There is no me. There's happening. But the overheated brain, which develops around 2 or 3 years of age, says it happened to me. It happened to me. Imagine how many, if we could, I don't know, maybe imagine how many mistakes like this are happening every moment. There are 8 billion people on this planet. Part of them are babies, but most of them are not. And they are in, how would I say, interaction with the world. Also, babies are in interaction, but they are with the parents or takers. But let's say those who walk and participate in the world in this measure or another measure. Imagine how many mistakes like those, different code, are happening every moment, not just in a supermarket. When you try to log to your account, sometimes we type very fast, so there's a mistake in one of the letters or in a number. It happens all the time to all of us. But the brain says, no, it happened to me. I could not log in. Something is wrong with me. This is what the mind will always, not the mind, but the brain, this mental activity will say, no, it is happening to you. It is happening. Something is wrong with you. You cannot log in. But most of the happening are happening in a systematic level. It never happens to me, any kind of me. It's just what is happening. It is funny because in this very thin, call it diet, experimental diet of Passover, you can see how everything is just a narration. Because since the nourishment is so poor only from matzah, and you cannot think for a long term. It does not exist. It's only being what happens in the moment. And what is not happening in the moment is not conceived in the mind. And it's not interesting. And you're not there. You're not in this castle of the mind because it doesn't exist. You don't have extra energy. It's basically calculation and you don't have it. Just a moment. For the moment, this is, I would not say perfect, but complete, because people take too much the word perfect. It seems like something finite, complete. So what happens in the moment happens. What makes people bitter or unhappy is the fact or the imagination or the illusion that they can conceive any process in time. This is suffering. No story exists in the moment. No story. You're hungry, you eat. It's cold, you wear another sweater. You drink warm tea or coffee. You're tired, you rest. There isn't any story. What a relief. Yes, Cindy. Life rises and freedom comes. Yes, yes, yes. I wonder if you remember, if you can testify when this me, how this word even me entered the language. When even people, in what age or what stage in life people create this term called me. Or it happened to XYZ, John, Peter, Paul, or Mary. It happened to someone. How? The beautiful thing is, and this is the freedom that can, this is what there is. The only freedom that there is to drop the sense of it happens to me, or there is a self, or there is a name inside. Now, this is an open question. When you read, let's say, books, or you see stories, it is very important for people to keep a name. Have you heard this before? Let's say it is very important for them, the family name, that it will continue. Yes. He is, let's say, a Miller. He is a Brown. It is very, very important for people. And it does not matter where people live, in which continent. Why? Now, why it is so important? And they will go to court and they will fight on the right to grow or to raise the grandson, because the grandson is holding the family name. So if the parents are separated, they will go to court and they will get the righteousness to grow the child under their name. Why? Why is that so? Yes, 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 but not just. Why it is so important. And think not just at a name as a family name and just, let's say, what is so important of holding the name? What is so important of keeping the name, of holding the name? Why? Why people will fight in it, in courts? Why? Yes, yes, yes. Keep the narration, keep the control. Yes, yes, yes. Very well. Narration, yes, identity. They will fight. People will fight of identity of the narration. Because everything has to do with the name. The one who has the name has the control, has the identity, has the narration, has the power. There is a beautiful chapter, there is a beautiful book called Chapters of Rabbi Eliezer. Chapters of Rabbi Eliezer. In one of the chapters, there's a beautiful opening that says, before everything was created, was he, and his name one. Again, before everything was created, was he, and his name one. Now there is being, and there's like the world, the universes of multiplicity, that every phenomenon has a name. There are many names, not just for people, for animals, for birds, for fish, for trees, for rocks, for rivers, astronomy, many, many names, a lot of data, a lot. But before everything was created, was he, nomenon, and his name, phenomenon, one. Now, the name is not just regarding families and properties and mansions and money and control. The name is also testify on the ability to think. Because when we express our thoughts, we express them in words, in names. So the one who uses names and words also has the ability to think according to the brain. But comes non-duality and says, and this is what it is, there is thinking, but you are not a thinker. We are not the thinkers. There's thinking happening. Intelligence, consciousness is all the time, but consciousness is like a river, and this river streams through all of us. But we are not the thinkers, because all of us are not separated entities. When a wave rises from the sea or from the ocean, we don't see the wave, yes, as a private entity. The wave is part of the sea or part of the ocean. What tortures us is this ability to think, because we believe that we are the thinkers, that we are the owners of the thought. This illusion creates suffering. Illusion. When children, I remember I was also running, playing with bicycles without running, falling. So just, okay, this is what happens in the moment. You come, you wash, you laugh, and then you continue. But when things are happening to the adults, it is happening to me. Children don't have this. They have this moment, tick tack, like that, like happy, sad, everything. They don't keep a journal. Yes. But what happens is that for a while, in the process of growing, comes a writing, comes a narration, and what is happening to me. And we believe that we are the thinkers, and we believe that we are like great characters, but we are not. The tree does not have this story about himself as separated tree. What happens in nature, the wind, the sun, the rain, goes through the tree, through the oak, like through the cedar, or like any other tree. The trees do not tell themselves stories. They communicate between themselves. Of course, life is communication. This is consciousness. But to tell ourselves that we are separated entities with names and heritage and tradition, it's not normal. It's not normal because what happens it's like eating matzah. Once you touch it, it breaks. And those stories about families, about heritage, about a nation, it is a very fragile story because life is this all the time. There's living, and you cannot cage it. You cannot put a frame or a fence. And all those terms like family, a state, a religion, a nation, they try to frame something. And it's a fallacy. Because life is life. Life don't need any definition, any frame, any fence, any concept. But this is the vanity of men, to think that they can conceive, that they can have any kind of a concept. It's impossible. Therefore, the last verse of the Bible, the last verse in which describes how Moses broke the 2 tablets to the eyes of Israel. This is the manifestation of non-duality. 2 tablets broken, none of each, not this and not that, not 2. Life cannot be conceived. Can. And this is the great liberty. Yes, Rodrigo, what did you want to say? Why the verse says that Moses broke the tablets to or in front of the eyes of Israel? Because the eyes, they can only see subject, object. The eyes can only see duality. Subject, object. But the breaking of the 2 tablets, the breaking of the 2, it means not to the eyes. There is no thought whatsoever that can conceive life. It starts with Bereshit. Bereshit bara Elohim, with duality. And the last verse, Bereshit is 2. Starts with 2. And the last verse says what? Not 2. Not 2. Any questions? Any sharing? Yanis, Rodrigo, Cindy, Felipe, Jill? Yes, I see. Rodrigo, the name Shem is Hebrew, represents the essence. Also for people, the surname represents, yes, transcendent, as if, yes, I see. And if life continues, yes, and life continues beyond my children, you see, this is also a narration. Who says this is my child? Who says, who terms, yes, the term my child? Who says my child? Who says my name? Who says my family? Who? Who? What if there's only life? People are coming and going. There's appearance and disappearance. What if there is no my life, my name, my story? Because this is what it is. All the rest is a narration. And narration, it gives a sense of belonging, a sense of meaning, but also narration brings a great sense of suffering because it's not true. It's not true. When someone tried to hold by force, not just physical force, with the mind to attach themselves to a name, to 2 or 3 people that carry similar name, it's against nature because life is a constant flow. And try to hold on something or someone because it has a name, and it just brings a lot of suffering. It's not natural. The leaf on a tree, when it's dry, it just leaves the tree, and the tree does not mourn, yes, to sit and cry for the dry leaf to leave. It's just a less burden for the tree, and then a new one will come at the right time. But we are telling ourselves stories which causes us a lot of suffering. But if there is no name, there is no tradition, there's just life, because this is what there is. All the rest is just our poor attempt, yes, to suck everything around us like if we were very important. Everything is evolving around me. No, it's not. Really not. All those poor trials, yes, to create a sense of center, that it is me. It is poor. It is very poor and not true. Yes, Yanis. How then to deal with emotion of family attachment? Just release it. This isn't just a story. Yanis, when you read a book, any kind of a book, let's say War and Peace, let's say, how many volumes? It doesn't matter. You complete the reading, you put the book aside. After a while, you move to another book. You read another story. Yes? And then, if you're interested, you will read a third book. Yes? And just move on. It's not, of course, if you meet with the same people all the time and you tell yourself this is your family, it's just reinforcing this story. Yes? But okay, those, let's say, life or nature gave those few characters around. Okay, it is part of the past. So but if you tell yourself every day, this is my aunt, this is my uncle, this is my cousin, it's a jail. It's a jail, and worse than physical jail, it's a jail in the mind. Because you limited yourself to the one who is defined by the 4 or 5 or 6 or even 20 people around it, because every family, it doesn't matter where, has an inner motor. The inner motor, which exists in any living form, it is to preserve itself. It's a mechanism. So how family preserve itself? There's an uncle, there's an aunt, there's a grandson, there's order. Who is the grandfather? Who is the grandmother? Uncle, aunt, cousins, nieces, nephew, children, taka, 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 taka. And it is like a stone. Grandfather is a stone. Grandmother is a stone. Children are stones. Because it's his grandmother. It's an institution called grandmother. It doesn't matter who now and where on the planet. What happens is life is living. And living is a constant movement. And suddenly the niece or the nephew or the children or the grandchildren are adults. And family is a very, very poor attempt to build walls around living, just that it would nourish the poor or the bitter story of a family. It's a very temporal. It's very, very temporal. And the only way to keep this family together, or the story about the family, like if it exists on its own, which is not, is to nourish. We come together in holidays, so we're nourishing, and how we introduce our friends or family to friends. This is the grandmother, this is the grandson, this is the daughter, this is the niece, and we create more and more concrete around it. Or once we tell or introduce the family to friends, or friends to the family, we introduce them to a foreigner, to a newcomer. We just create more and more and more heaviness, because we're enforcing against that John is the grandpa. And like he's a statue, there's emptiness inside of John. For you, it's a grandpa, but for his friends in the newspaper journalist association, John is completely different. But it's just infinite lies, one on top of the other. And families, like any organism, any organism wants to ensure its living form, so it will continue to create. This is aunt, this is, and nobody can. And you are being narrowed down all the time to this grandchild, and you're not 5 anymore, but you are still the grandchild of this and that, and you are the grandson of this and that. And there's no freedom, because you're always defined by others. And what others? Other bodies, other appearances in space and time. This is what defines you. And you train to believe that this is who you are, and you are being narrowed down to the grandson, to the granddaughter, to the child of your parents. Nobody knows if they are your parents. You were told they are your parents. Who knows who can prove it? No one. The more you meet with the family, and you say to yourself, even you bring a friend to the family, you say to the friend, this is my uncle, this is, the more you do this, there is a reinforcing of this prime story of a family which does not exist at all by nature. But the repetition, this is my aunt, this is, and it's not natural. And sometimes you bite your tongue because this is my uncle or my cousin, I will not say anything. And sometimes with people you don't, have nothing to do with them. But you're being told, who did you choose a family? You are told this is your family and this is how you have to relate to them. And this is how you create control. The first unit of control in life is family. It's an institution, whether you like it or not. There is order, there's father, there's mother, there is uncle. This is it. And try to move. Try to move from your square. You will get whack on your head because you're shaking the foundation of family. You're not allowed to speak. The uncles and the aunt and only seniors can speak. Yes? Creating a sense of a state, creating a self of own power. Before you have a state, before you have a synagogue or church, or any community institution, this is the family. This is the first order that a child or baby sends in his life. Yes, the sense of power. Of course, no one wants that this will change. Because what, you're questioning power? You're questioning authority? You question authority of a mother? Wow. How dare you question authority of a father? Sperm and egg. Problem. It is. It is. If you suffer in your family, just drop it. Drop the idea of having a family because we don't have anything. Everything is just a storytelling. You were told this is your family. You don't have to stick with it. Why to suffer? If you don't repeat to yourself a few times per day, this is my family, on even worse than this, I don't like them and they're still my family, you will suffer. Just untie yourself. Quit on this idea. Beautiful because you see in this beautiful moment of being in Passover, when you eat matzah, it doesn't sustain, it doesn't nourish, it's always cold. It doesn't warm your brain. It doesn't have yeast. You can never plot. You can never create a sense of a family. Passover is, if you want to put it simply, this is anti-family. There is no story. There is no family. There's only oneness. There is no. This is just a story to the eye of the beholder. You see people on the street, adult and children, immediately the brain will tell you they are family. And those, the elders, their parents, and the two toddlers are the children. This is what the brain will always tell you. Before you even notice, they are coming as imprint of a family in your mind. The adults are the parents, the babies are the babies, they're the newborn, and the relation between them are parents and children. It comes from the narration, and you don't have what? Choice about the narration. It is implanted in us against our will. Because we don't have a free will. The only thing that we can do is drop it, quit on it. If you want to hear a story from Jerusalem, I'm not sure that this is the right moment, but I would like to tell you one day story. Look how people live. Story comes from Jerusalem. A grandmother died. According to certain belief, they mourn for 7 days. Okay. After 7 days, come the daughter-in-law. In the middle of the night, there's a vast house, 2 floors, many bedrooms. In the middle of the night, walking in the stairs and calling. After the grandma is deceased, "Grandma, grandma, we did everything for you, for your honor. We respect you all of your life. We give you this grace of 7 days mourning. And now, here comes the speech of the, at the middle of the night, the speech of the, how do you say, the bride? Yes, the grandmother had a son, and this is his wife. And she wakes up in the middle of the night, walking on the stairs, and says, "Grandma, grandma, we give you respect of you all of your life," and ta 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 ta. So now, this son and his wife, they have a daughter. She has 2 sons, and she wants to conceive the 3rd pregnancy. So what does the wife of the son says? Speaking to the spirit of the home in Jerusalem. "Grandma, grandma, we did everything for you. We gave you respect all of your life. We mourn for you 7 days. Now, give our daughter a baby girl, and we shall name the baby girl after your name. We gave you everything in your life. Now you will give us a baby." You see, this is how people live life. Barter. Family, control, children, names, honor, respect, seniority. This is how people live life. Lies, torture, enforcement, power, family, before you have a state. Yeah, this is what it is. Go have a life, Jan.